Hi, I'm Mindy Camp, and I'm going to talk to you today about 3 land organisms and 3 water organisms. Um, I have made paper copies, and I'm going to show you on my tablet too because these are black and white. The land organisms I picked were a butterfly, an elephant, and a lion. The water organisms I picked, we just saw dolphin tail this weekend, so they're on my mind. A dolphin, a sea turtle, and coral. I'll show you what they look like as I go over them on my tablet really quick. First, I'll talk about the sea turtles. And this is probably a little better with the glare picture of a sea turtle. And some quick information. This is all courtesy of Wikipedia.com. Sea turtles are also called marine turtles. They're reptiles. There are 7 species of sea turtles. They are the leatherback sea turtle, the green sea turtle, loggerhead sea turtle, the Ridley sea turtle, hawksbill sea turtle, flatback sea turtle, and the olive Ridley sea turtle. 4 of the species have been identified as endangered or critically endangered, and the other 2 are just classified as vulnerable at this point. The species that are primarily distinguished by their anatomy, for instance, the leatherback turtle is the only one that doesn't have a shell. It is instead has bony plates beneath its leathery skin. It is the largest sea turtle. Sea turtles can be found in all oceans, except for in the polar regions. Some species travel between different oceans. After taking to the water for the first time, the males will not return to shore again, which I thought was pretty interesting. Once the sea turtle has reached adulthood, it moves closer to the shore, and the females come ashore to lay their eggs on sandy beaches during the nesting season. And lastly, I said that the green sea turtle breaks to the surface to breathe. Sea turtles are almost always submerged, and they feed on a wide range of animals and plants. So that is it on the sea turtles. The next one that I was going to talk about is that of the dolphin. And I apologize for the glare. And that is a dolphin. And you may just want to see this instead. The dolphin is up here. The sea turtle is here. And there's the coral. The dolphins, I found a little bit more interesting information. They're crustacean, cetacean mammals. I apologize for my pronunciation. Closely related to whales and porpoises. There are almost 40 species of dolphins, which is a lot. They vary in different sizes. They're found worldwide, mostly in the shallower seas, and they're carnivores, eating mostly fish and squid. They have a streamlined body that's adapted for fast swimming. The tail fin is called a fluke. It is used for propulsion, and the pectoral fins, together with the entire tail section, provide direction control for swimming. Dolphins can tolerate and recover from extreme injuries, such as shark bites. And it says that the exact methods used to achieve that is not known. I thought that was pretty interesting. It says the healing process is rapid, and even very deep wounds do not cause dolphins to hemorrhage to death. Furthermore, even gaping wounds restore in such a way that the animal's body is restored, and an infection of such large wounds seem rare. That just seems really odd that they can have such huge wounds and somehow they just miraculously heal, and it'd be a great thing if we could figure that out. Let's see. Another thing that I thought was interesting is a study of the U.S. National Marine Mammal Foundation revealed that dolphins, like humans, develop a natural form of type 2 diabetes, which may lead to a better understanding of the disease and new treatments in both humans and dolphins. A little bit of interesting information. Most dolphins have very acute eyesight, both in and out of the water. They can hear frequencies 10 times or more above the upper limit of human hearing in an adult. They are often regarded as one of Earth's most intelligent animals. They are very social animals. They often live in pods of dozens. And dolphins communicate with a variety of clicks, whistle-like sounds, and other vocalizations. The last water organism I have is the coral. And I'll show you the picture here, but I'm not going to guarantee that it can be seen. I have the door open here, and so the glare is kind of bad. That is the coral. This section is a little shorter because it is a different kind of organism, and personally it wasn't as interesting. I apologize, and I know that when I teach I have to give everything equal information, but I'll let you know that ahead of time. Coral are marine invertebrates typically living in compact colonies of many identical individual polyps. The group includes the important reef builders that inhabit tropical oceans and secrete calcium carbonate to form a hard skeleton. I included this because I wanted something that actually is kind of part of the plant life that is in the ocean versus the actual animals. The coral head is a colony of myriad genetically identical polyps. Each polyp is a spineless animal, typically only a few millimeters in diameter and a few centimeters in height. A set of tentacles surround a central mouth opening. An exoskeleton is excreted near the base. Over many generations, the colony thus creates a large skeleton that is characteristic of the species, and there's millions of kinds of coral, or a lot. Although some corals can catch small fish and plankton using stinging cells on their tentacles, like those in sea anemone and jellyfish, most coral obtain the majority of their energy and nutrients from photosynthetic unicellular algae that live within the coral's tissue. Such coral require sunlight to grow in clear, shallow water, typically in depths shallower than 200 feet. Coral can be major contributors to the physical structure of the coral reefs that develop in tropical and subtropical waters. So I know that they're very important in the ocean, which is why I wanted to include them in this presentation. Now I'm going to switch to the land organisms, and I apologize for my blenders. The first one that I'm going to go over is the bottom one here, the lion, and I will show a picture of the lion really quick. And there is a picture of the lion. This is mane. There was a lot of information on the lion and the elephant, probably the most that I found, and the most interesting also. But this is just some basic, and then I'll go into some things that I found that were interesting too. The lion is one of the 5 big cats in the genus Panthera and member of the family Felidae, with some males exceeding 550 pounds in weight. It is the second largest living cat below the tiger, which I wasn't sure of that before. Wild lions currently live in sub-Saharan Africa and Asia, where an endangered remnant population resides in National Park Forest in India, while other types of lions have disappeared from North Africa and Southwest Asia in historic times. Until about 10,000 years ago, the lion was the most widespread large land mammal after humans. They're found mostly in Africa across Eurasia, from Western Europe to India, and the Americans from Yukon to Peru. From the Yukon to Peru, sorry. The lion is a vulnerable species, having seen a major population decline in its African range of 30 to 50% per 2 decades during the second half of the 20th century. The cause of the decline is not fully understood. Its habitat loss and its conflict with humans are currently a big cause of that. Within Africa and West African lion population, it's particularly endangered. Just checking. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just making sure the video is still going. The lions live for 10 to 14 years in the wild. While in captivity, they can live longer than 20 years. In the wild, males seldom live longer than 10 years because of injuries of their continuous fighting, and that obviously reduces their longevity. They typically inhabit the savanna and the grassland, although they can also be in the bush and the forest. Lions are usually social compared to other cats. A pride of lions consists of related females and offspring, and a number of adult males. Groups of female lions typically do the hunt together. They prey on large ungulates, and I had to look that up. Those are a diverse group of large mammals that includes horses, cattle, giraffe, camels, deers, and hippopotamus. So the females go and hunt for those. The lions are apex and keystone predators, although they're expert scavengers, and that is actually where they obtain over 50% of their food, by scavenging as opportunity allows them. They do not typically hunt humans, but have been known to do so. They sleep mainly during the day, and they're primarily nocturnal. And they are very highly distinctive and recognizable by their mane, and its face is one of the most widely recognizable animal symbols in human culture. And some kind of weird, neat information was that lions have been known to breed with tigers, most often the Siberian and Bengal subspecies, to create the hybrids called ligers or tigons, which I thought was just a zoo thing. But they also have been crossed with leopards to produce leopons and jaguars to produce jaglions. I didn't know they did all that, actually. I kind of just knew about the tigers and the lions. But both males and females can defend the pride against intruders, but the male lion is better suited for the purpose because of his stockier and more powerful build. While a lioness, skip that. They scavenge animals, either dead of natural causes or killed by other predators, like I'd said, and keep constant lookout for circling vultures, because that is a way that it signals to them that there's an animal that is dead or in distress, and they go there to scavenge. The lioness is the one, like I said, that does the most hunting. The male lion associated with the pride usually stays and watches the young while waiting for the lioness to return from the hunt, which is kind of the opposite of the cliches of most other, or of even humans. Typically, several lionesses work together from the herd, and encircle a herd from different points. Once they've closed in on a herd, they usually target the closest prey. The attack is short and powerful, and they attempt to catch the victim with a fast rush and final leap. So that is the end of the part about the lions. The next part is about the elephants, and this is a picture of the elephants. I think the glare is going out of the window a little bit. Elephants are one of my favorites, so I thought that was one of the most interesting. The lions were pretty interesting. They're obviously large mammals. Traditionally, two species, the African and the Asian elephant. They are scattered through the sub-Saharan Africa, South Asia, and Southwest Asia. Elephants are the only surviving family member in the order of, and I know I'm going to butcher it, Pro Proboscidea. I don't know, Proboscidea. I apologize for that. Other now extinct families in the order include the mammoths, the woolly mammoths, and the mastodons. The male African elephants are the largest surviving terrestrial animals and can reach a height of 13 feet and weigh 15,000 pounds. All elephants have several distinctive features, and most notable is the long trunk, or proboscis, used for many purposes, particularly breathing, lifting water, and grasping objects. Their incisors grow tusks, which can serve as weapons and as tools for moving objects and digging. Elephants' large ears, or their large ear flaps, help to control their body temperature, and their pillar-like legs carry the great weight of their bodies. African elephants have larger ears and concave backs, while Asian elephants have smaller ears and convex or level backs. Elephants are herbivores and can be found in habitats including savannas, forests, deserts, and marshes. They prefer to stay near water. They're considered to be ketone species due to their impact on the environment. Other animals tend to keep their distance. Predators such as lions, tigers, and hyenas, and wild dogs usually target only the young elephants, the calves. The females, or the cows, tend to live in family groups, which can consist of one female and her calf or several related females with offspring. The groups are led by individuals known as the matriarch, often the oldest cow, and the elephants have a fission-fusion society in which multiple family groups come together to socialize. Males, which are the bulls, leave their family groups when they reach puberty and may live alone or with other males. Calves are the center of attention in their family groups and rely on their mothers for as long as 3 years. Elephants can live up to 70 years in the wild. They communicate by touch, sight, smell, and sound. Elephants' intelligence has been compared with that of primates. They appear to have self-awareness and show empathy for dying or dead individuals of their kind, and I've seen that, and that's so sad and so sweet at the same time. African elephants are listed as vulnerable by the International Union for Conservation of Nature, while the Asian elephant is classified as endangered. I didn't really know there was a vulnerable class until I looked at this. One of the biggest threats to the elephant population is obviously the ivory trade. The animals are poached for their ivory tusks. Other threats to wild animals include the habitat destruction, just as with the lions, and conflicts with local people. Elephants are used as working animals in Asia, and in the past they were used in war. Today they're often put on display in zoos and circuses. The African elephant has a 2-finger-like extension on the tip of the trunk that allow to grasp and bring food to its mouth. The Asian elephant only has one of the finger-like extensions and relies more on wrapping around food and squeezing it into its mouth. Asian elephants must have more coordination and can perform more complex tasks. Something I'd never thought about, it says losing the trunk could be detrimental to an elephant's survival, although in rare cases individuals have survived with shortened ones. I tried to include, besides just the normal things, some of the interesting things that I never heard of or would have been surprised about. This next one is one of those things. Elephants usually have 26 teeth. The incisors, known as tusks, 12 premolars and 12 molars. Unlike mammals, which grow baby teeth and then replace them with single permanent set of adult teeth, like we do, elephants have cycles of tooth rotation throughout their lives. The chewing teeth are replaced 6 times in a typical elephant's life. Teeth are not replaced by new ones emerging from the jaw, as in most animals. Instead, new teeth grow in from the back of the mouth and move forward to push out the old ones, which I thought that was really interesting. The first chewing tooth on each side of the jaw falls out when the elephant is 2 to 3 years old. The second set of chewing teeth falls out when the elephant is 4 to 6 years old. The third set is lost at 9 to 15 years of age. The fourth set lasts until 18 to 28 years of age. The fifth set lasts until the elephant's in its 40s. And the sixth and usually final set, it lasts until the elephant, till the rest of the elephant's life. I know it's a lot of details about teeth, but I thought that was pretty interesting. Like humans, elephants are usually right or left tusked. I thought that was pretty cool. This is the dominant tusk, called the master tusk, is generally more worn down, and it's usually shorter and has a rounder tip. For the African elephants, tusks are present in both the males and females, but those of the males are thicker. And in the Asian species of elephants, only the males have the large tusks. The females have small ones or none at all. An elephant uses mud as a sunscreen, protecting its skin from ultraviolet light. Although tough, an elephant's skin is very sensitive. Without regular mud baths to protect it from insect bites, and moisture loss, an elephant's skin suffers serious damage. After bathing, the elephant will usually use its trunk to blow dust onto its body, and this dries to form the protective crust. So that's the end of the part about the elephants. So lastly, I will move on to the butterfly, which is at the top there. And then it is the last one here. And there is the butterfly. And so I will tell you a little bit about that. Butterflies are part of a class of insects. Moths are also in the same order as they are. Adult butterflies have large, often brightly colored wings and conspicuous fluttering flight. The group is comprised of true butterflies, the skippers, and the moth butterflies. Butterfly fossils date to the mid-Eocene epoch, 40 to 50 million years ago. Butterflies, like the monarch, will migrate over long distances. Some butterflies have parasitic relationships with organisms such as protozoans, flies, ants, and other invertebrates and vertebrates. Some species are pests because of the larval stage, or at the larval stage, they can damage domestic crops and trees. However, some species are agents of pollination of some plants, and caterpillars of a few butterflies eat harmful insects, which do help with the farmers. Culturally, butterflies are a popular motif in the visual and literary arts. Butterflies in their adult stage can live from a week to nearly a year, depending on the species. Thought that was interesting. Many species have long larval life stages, while others remain dormant in their pupa or egg stages, and thereby they survive the winter. Butterflies may have one or more brood per year. The number of generations per year varies from temperate to tropical regions. Butterfly eggs are protected by a hard, rigid outer layer of shell. This is lined with a thin coating of wax, which prevents the egg from drying out before the larva has fully developed. Butterfly eggs are fixed to a leaf with a special glue which hardens rapidly. The eggs are almost always laid on plants. Each species of butterfly has its own host plant range, and while some species of butterfly are restricted to just one species of plant, most stay with the member of one plant family. The egg stage lasts a few weeks in most butterflies. The larvae or caterpillars consume plant leaves and spend practically all of their life in search of food. Most caterpillars are herbivores. Adult butterflies have 4 wings, a forewing, a hind wing on both the left and the right side of the body. The body is divided into 3 segments: the head, the thorax, and the abdomen. They have 2 antennae, 2 compound eyes, and a proboscis. I looked that up, and that's the nose of a mammal. And the butterflies use their antennae to sense the air for wind and scents. Their vision is also well developed in the butterflies. Many butterflies, such as the monarch butterfly, are migratory and capable of long distance flights. They migrate during the day and use the sun to orient themselves. The wings of the butterflies, unlike the dolphins, they become increasingly damaged as they age, and they do not repair. And a butterfly's hind wings are thought to allow them to take swift, tight turns to evade predators. I wondered about that because there's not really much that you ever see a butterfly able to do to defend itself. But anyway, those are the organisms that I went over. I enjoyed finding out some of the information. Some not so exciting, but others were. Again, my land organisms were the butterfly, the elephant, and the lion. And my water organisms were the dolphin, and the sea turtle, and the coral. Thank you much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.